Happy Xbox acquisition year. Ladies and gentlemen, it's me, your boy, Hebot, coming back at you with a small video about certain things that's been going on that you'll see in the beginning of the video that I will post up with certain things. With this whole acquisition with Activision, with all these brand new scenarios that are popping up, all these brand new detectives that we have in the gaming community, and all these lawyers that have the bar and pass the bar that we have in the Xbox community. Now everybody is a lawyer, a private investigator, a financial analyst, and all types of great things. I love it. I love it. I love it how when Microsoft does something, it makes the pot stir so badly that everybody goes in delusion mode and everybody sounds and seems like they're either sniffing crack or smoking a lot of weed. So anyway, now we're having these ramblings and talks about why Microsoft wants to bully the industry. Microsoft wants to bully everybody. They're just trying to monopolize everything. And we come to find out that it was Activision themselves that wanted to go on sale and start to sell off their property and their company because their investors wanted no part of what was going on because they couldn't start fixing it, or they felt they couldn't fix it right away. And Microsoft themselves told them, go to other people and see what they will offer you. Microsoft themselves told them that. Meanwhile, everybody's just assuming Microsoft is over there going like this. Take that! Because they think they're doing it just to take control, to kick Sony's ass or Nintendo's ass for that matter. When that's not the case. I said in the podcast when we were in the exile, and shout outs to my brothers over there, E-Rock, Unlimited, Sega Man, I said Sega Forever. Sega Forever did a fantastic video this morning. I saw it. Check it out. Too bad that he left it all in black screen. I would love to have seen his face and his expressions and stuff, but he didn't turn it on, I think. He didn't realize. But it's a good video. You need to check it out, guys. And I said that part of this is Microsoft is going to clean house because of the perception that they have is very positive at this point. And so what they're going to do is help Activision and the workers over there, because all those workers cannot be put down in the same bracket and under the same, situation of Bobby Kotick or Kotex, whatever his name is. I like to call him Kotex, like women Kotex, but either way, basically, because a lot of people didn't do anything. These people have been working there. This is their livelihood. The way they spend time and support their families, and it makes a lot of sense. And I also said that Microsoft is also looking at it from the standpoint that we will not only benefit from this, but at the same time will help preserve and save a company that has been in the industry, quite frankly, since the very beginning of gaming on consoles. I don't know if it was the 70s, but I definitely know it was during the Atari era that Activision's name was there. And they want to preserve and save the company, right? Which only a company like Microsoft will look at it in that perspective. And, the proof comes out that Activision approached them first. And they told them, go somewhere else and see what you can get. Because they wanted to be fair. Because they probably knew, in hindsight, people like Phil Spencer knew that if they bought them flat out, being the first choice, and not giving them an option to go other places. Sorry, that's a train going by. I'm right now stopped by a train track thing. That people would automatically do what they're doing. Microsoft wants to monopolize the industry! Jesus Christ. You guys said you wanted them to do big moves so that they can have big options and make sure that they can prove to their fan base and the gaming industry that they were serious about gaming. And guess what? That's exactly what they did. They showed you that they're beyond serious, including Satya himself when he's just the CEO of Microsoft, the company. He says we're very serious about gaming. And they quickly addressed that it's about the safety of the employees as well to address that, right? So now we got people talking about, they're going to talk, with the government of not the security shit. I forget what it's called, about it being something illegal, and that this is a monopoly. When Microsoft is not stupid, they don't got dumb lawyers, they don't make stupid business moves. It's a fair play acquisition. They came to them. They wanted help. They wanted buyout, right? Microsoft is not bullying them to, oh, you better sell to us. So no, they're not trying to destroy a privacy act of anybody, or whatever the hell it's called. I forgot the time. Forgive me. You guys can correct me at the bottom when you see the video. It's a fair play move, and they're just trying to do what's right for the company and for them as well, obviously. And they're paying $68 billion, you know, if you want to round it off, about $70 billion. Okay? They're not bullying their way in. This is all fair play. But at the same time, I also want to address it from the other side of the glass. Because for quite some time, you have companies like Tencent, right? They've been buying all types of stuff, all types of studios. Big, small, doesn't matter. And they're Chinese based, right? And yet, not one person has ever claimed the idea of, oh, they're monopolizing the industry. Not one person. They buy because the studios they're buying are not bigger studios. Who cares? The point is they're buying out everything and anything possible out there known to man. They just recently acquired Sumo Digital, for Christ's sakes. The ones who did Crackdown, the ones who did the Outrun series for Sega, and the ones who did Sackboy for PS5, okay? They just acquired them recently, okay? So no one's saying nothing, but yet they're a Japanese or a Chinese company, rather. So all of a sudden, because they're Chinese, that's can't be looked at as a monopolization. No one said that. Nobody's crying for that. The same way nobody has said a damn word or cried about anything because Sony went and bought out Crunchyroll and Funimation and Applex, I believe it's pronounced. It's all the distributions centers and companies that dedicated distribution, and that were the sole distributors for anything anime, whether it was through streaming, whether it's through video, DVD on demand, or video on demand, VOD, and all that stuff. They control that whole market, and Sony owns all of it. And Sony bought them all for only $1 billion, each one of those companies. They own all of it. And not once have you seen, not once, anybody say, but Sony's monopolizing the anime space, which you know damn well the reason they did that was so they can control all anime IPs in the future. And meaning, since they have the control of the animes themselves and the IPs, if anybody wants to make games off those IPs of animes, they got to go through them. That's why they ultimately had a bunch of Japanese anime games only exclusive to them that you ain't see on Xbox, like Berserk, like Fist of the North Star, like Tokyo Ghoul, okay, as an example, right? And even Gundam games. All the Gundam games only came out on PS4 and now PS5. Or the Earth Defense Force, which is one of the series that my son loved in the 360, which is their version of like Starship Troopers, for those who don't know what it is. Earth Defense Force 2033 or something like that. You know, I could be wrong. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Correct me down below. And not one person, not in the media, not YouTube, big mouths and influencers that love throwing shade, you know, dumb people like Jason Fryer, like Jeff Grubb, Jez Gordon, all them fucking dodo heads and bums that love claiming that they're Xbox fans, but they're the first ones to try to find shade to throw at Xbox when Microsoft makes moves like this to make them in a better position and give them the overall advantage. Because at the end of the day, this is business. And Microsoft is not in here spending $70 billion so that they can babysit Sony or babysit Amazon or Google or anybody else like Nintendo, okay? Even though Nintendo, they don't bother nobody. They stay their own place. They don't bother nobody. They always do them, and that's it. They don't bother nobody. But I'm mentioning it because, you know, they're not here to help Nintendo either. That's not what the point of it is. They're their own entity. They're their own company. And so if you're investing $70 billion, unless you're going to get back anything in return that is worth your time with a company like, let's say, Amazon, Google, Sony, you're not going to do anything to give them benefit or profit or the upper hand as well if you're not going to benefit from it, because you're the one that shelled out the $70 billion. It wasn't them. And you already see these fucking asshats saying shit like, well, it only makes sense they should put Game Pass on PS5 and PlayStations. That way you can play all PlayStation games and Game Pass, and they can share 30% of the revenues from Game Pass with PlayStation and Sony. And that way it will help them grow and save, and they'll be in a good position. And Microsoft could make more money and make a bigger audience. No! You only want that so that the new narrative will be, oh, the only console worth owning and buying is a PS5 or a PS4. This way, you know, Microsoft is irrelevant. Why? You can play their games on PC. You can play their games on PlayStation. Why do you need an Xbox? That is the real narrative here. And the real reason why you hear these asshats saying shit like that. Because they know that the writing's on the wall, and their company of choice that they favor, that they love so much, and that they suck the bottle for such a long time, is dying. And I'm absolutely ecstatic. Why? Because they did the same thing to Sega and Nintendo back in the 80s and 90s, late 80s and early 90s. They didn't give a shit or gave any type of respect to the pioneers of the industry, which was Nintendo and Sega, right? Or even Atari for that matter. They didn't. They said it's about us, because we got the big bucks, and bought everything and anything that they possibly could in their favor. Okay? Which ultimately left them to get the perception and the market share of the casuals, which is the biggest market right now. And that's how they got those 120 plus thousand units sold during the PS1, for example. They had no competition for a long time. When other people came in to compete, they were already in the market dominating for almost 2 years. And shout outs to E-Rock that he did a video talking about it, some of these things yesterday, and Colin Moriarty's stupidity. And shout outs to Brother Unlimited. He did another video talking about what I was talking about with the Game Pass being that they're suggesting for it to be on, you know, on freaking, what you call it, on PlayStation. Because Microsoft will gain 400,000 million people if they go on PlayStation. Please. They don't buy games. We already know that the highest rated game is Fortnite. And that's free to play. And the second one was Call of Duty, and now they own Call of Duty. So please, shut up. You sound stupid. Spider-Man sold 13 million units. So fucking what? That was diminished returns. Of course it sold 13 million units because the game was $20. The game went on sale. The game was given out 6 million copies were given out for free the very next month after it came out, or 2 months after. Came out in September, and that November for Black Friday, it was given out for free. And 6 million copies were given out for free. So that means you take off 6 million from 13 million, you're already going down, rounding it down to 7 million. And what it really sold was 3.4 million in its initial release. Then after that, it dropped and kept dropping. And when it dropped on sale, by E3 the following year, it was $20 on sale. So of course, it's going to sell, what you call it, 13 million units. Why? Because nobody's going to have a problem buying a game for $20 as opposed to $60 or $70. Duh. That only makes sense. So, moving right along, I want to talk about this fucking guy, or this person. I don't know who it is. I was trying to see where it came from, but I didn't have any chance and luck in finding it. That was saying that if Microsoft doesn't put Spyro the Dragon, or if they don't put Ratchet and Clank, okay, on PlayStation's consoles from the near future, this point going forward, that they're going to riot and they're going to do something about it and protest and make sure that they speak with the wallet, that they don't get supported, so that they're forced to do so. Listen, buddy, whoever you are, first of all, you sound crazy. That's number one. Number two, that's the very thing that Sony did. When Sony brought Crash Bandicoot, it was to compete against Nintendo and Sega with Sonic and Mario. They didn't own it. They didn't own Naughty Dog as well. They just bought the exclusive rights. Once they saw it had some type of success, even though Crash Bandicoot was a joke back then, it was the worst platformer out of all of them. Okay, because it was the most simplified and the least the least intuitive, because of the structure of the game at that time. Okay, in comparison to the other things that have been out. Okay, the same thing with Spyro. They did not own it. Now, when they bought Naughty Dog, they owned it. Okay, but that was many years later. Same thing with Spyro the Dragon. They didn't own it, and then when they bought it from Insomniac, or the rights to the IP, it was years later. And they even owned Insomniac when they bought the IP from Insomniac. You understand what I'm saying? So when they saw that Crash and Spyro wasn't making them enough money, they got rid of it and sold it to Activision. Once it was sold to Activision, the property belonged to Activision. Hence why all those Crash and Spyro games that came out during the era and generation of the 360, and even OG Xbox, that's where it started, I believe, they were on Xbox consoles as well, and Nintendo consoles. So the level and magnitude of your retardation and your ignorance is beyond anything that can be explained or comprehended, because that doesn't belong to them. It never did after they sold it. Okay? Just because it came out exclusively first with the remasters on the last generation for PlayStation 4 does not mean they owned it. If that was your childhood, that's all you knew, good for you. But Sony still has other mascots that they can use. Toomba. They have Ape Escape. They have Jackson Daxter. They have Sly Cooper. So I don't know what's the problem, that if they still have those 4 IPs, that they can't just try to make games from there, in your mind. Jackson Daxter is probably their best platformer or mascot platformer that they ever had. And that's the one that they never brought back, even though they did a remaster of the original 3 games on PS3, and also you can buy it now on PS4. Okay? So they have mascots. So stop the baby crying. Okay? Do me that favor. Know your history before you talk, because you sound like a little baby without a cradle, without a bib, and without a pacifier. You really need a mama's titty? Is that what it is? Get one, because you sound stupid. Whoever the hell your name is, and where the hell are you, you're going to know, because I'm going to put the picture in the beginning of this video, where it's going to show it. And you're going to know what I'm referencing and talking about. Okay? This guy is that's the most retarded statement I've ever seen. And I see people talking about, oh, Crash, they stole it. Microsoft stole it from Sony, how dare they? No, the fuck they didn't steal it, because it belonged to Activision. They sold it away. It was just like Rare. Rare don't belong to Nintendo no more, goddammit. They sold it to Microsoft because Nintendo didn't want them anymore, because they were doing too much of mature content, things that was not part of the Nintendo brand, and they were embarrassed of them to a certain degree, to the point that when they made Conker during E3, Conker was shown behind doors, closed doors. It was hidden away. Nobody knew unless you had a special invitation, because they didn't want the public to see it. And shortly after that, that's when they sold the company to Microsoft almost 20-something years ago for $375 million. And Microsoft was the only one willing to buy it at that time, because they were building and structuring. That was one of their first opportunities to buy a studio. And they did. Until this day, Rare's still around, doing all types of different things that they chose to do, and still having success, whether you want to believe it or not. If they weren't having success, they would have closed down a long time ago. But that doesn't register with people without comprehension and common sense or brain cells. Okay? And again, the stupidity of put Game Pass on PlayStation. The stupidity of that people think that these are antitrust laws or whatever, because they're monopolizing shit, is retarded. Because when companies, like I said, like Sony is buying out all the animation and anime, distributors that are out there, that literally own all of them, it's not said. Or when Tencent is buying all these developers all in one shot. They bought like 60 developers last year alone. All in one shot. And they're not even in the gaming space. They just have money. Because they want to control the developers so people can pay them. They want to control anything American, the Chinese. Okay? And you guys don't even realize that, like suckers, like idiots. Okay? Microsoft is a Western company. It's American. So it's going to be able to protect anything American or anything that's distributed here in the Americans and in the state, that it's an American company or in the States. Okay? Just like when they did this merger and deal with Sega, and the first thing hypocrite Sega went and said was, oh, we're not going to make our games exclusive, but yet they still have exclusives on Nintendo and PlayStation. How the fuck do you sound? You can have exclusives on those two consoles, which don't do nothing for you, haven't paid a dime for you. Here goes Microsoft and helps you out with a deal, and yet you making sure that you tell your fan base and the haters of Xbox and the fanboys that, oh, we're not going to make exclusives for Xbox, but yet you're using their money to help you structure with technology and to do new tech. Are you freaking serious? Get the hell out of here with that bullshit. That would have been my first demand as a person in Microsoft. We'll help you, but you got to make exclusives for us. The same way you did with everybody else. Not call them out on it. And, Phil's a nice guy. He's not going to really do that, but that's what he needs to do. So, again, we got to stop the stupidity. And then, all these people, wanting to be like, I know how to run business. You better put Crash and Spyro. You better know. How dare you? Well, to you, lunatics. Like I said, you got other IPs. Okay, you got other IPs, other mascots, and now Microsoft owns them, and they bought them out flat out legally. They have their right. It belongs to them. So sorry to burst your bubble. If you don't like it, like you guys always like to say, if you want to play Wolverine and Spider-Man, buy a PlayStation. Guess what? If you want to play Crash, if you want to play anything from Diablo to StarCraft, Call of Duty, if you want to play Spyro, or anything else that comes out from any other developer from this point forward, you got to buy an Xbox or buy into the ecosystem through Game Pass so you can play it on your PC, on your laptop, on your phone, all the options that you got. Nobody's controlling anybody. It's that simple. We got to have the same energy. Same energy, Mr. Jeff Grubb, Mr. Jason Fryer, or Jeff Gordon, or any other retard out there that likes to talk stupid shit like Dreamcast guy does with his retarded hot takes, or Jeff Keighley with his retarded hot takes, or fucking Colin Moriarty with his retarded hot takes. Y'all all retarded and dumb. Yeah, I said the word retarded. It is a word. So, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Give me a thumbs up if you like it. Give me a thumbs down if you don't like it. Want to leave me a comment and let me know what you think and your thoughts. If you want to curse me out and talk shit, go right ahead. so I can block you and laugh at you. It's no problem to me. It's very easy. That's why I made a block button. Share it with someone you think might like it. As always, thank you for you guys for your continued support. That you come to my channel and help me out. I appreciate you very much. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you subscribe, thank you very much, because I know you didn't have to. But since you did, remember, I consider you now part of my family. And I'm really grateful, really appreciative, and I'm completely humbled. You guys know what to do. You can find me out on social media if you want. On Instagram, under C_respect. On Twitter, under Most Powerful Gaming Historian. And then obviously on Xbox and Nintendo Switch, under Hebot8. On the PSN network, under Alpha from the Sky. And lastly, here on YouTube, if you don't know, you can find me under Hebot. And on Twitch, if you want to check me out when I stream, it's Hebot, capital H, underscore, lowercase e, underscore, lowercase BOT, 8, Powerful Gamer. You can find me there too, and you can follow me there too. You're more than welcome to. That'd be great. Help me out as well. So guys, see you in the next one. Love you. Peace. Microsoft, stop hurting these people. Buy some more companies. It's great. I love it.